Ah, there it
Hey,
is.
there we go.
There we
Hello.
go. It's live. And that happened at the exact same moment as my schedule post to go on Facebook. I'm getting really good at this, scheduling posts, everything going out at the same time. Let me send this tweet that I have written in preparation. And there we go. Okay. Ah, there we go, sir. How are you today?
I am doing well. So I just ate an apple and I have a little bit of skin stuck in my tooth. So I'm going to pick that out. I normally wouldn't
That's
use a
okay.
toothpick on camera. So here we
Once I
go.
get talking, the camera will deflect away from you and it'll be all about me.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
That's right. It switches. I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's kind of cool, but it can also be a bit of a pain. But we have one viewer, so hi, mom. So let's just get going so we can get into it because I'm super excited to talk to you, dude.
All right,
So
let's do
hello,
this.
awesome. Hello and welcome to Sorenzo Meets. My name is Tom Wall and I run Sorenzo Props, and this is my weekly, I suppose, show where I talk to different prop and cosplay people from all around the world so that I can get to know them a bit better because unfortunately I can't travel to all these amazing places and meet all these amazing people. So I just talk to them via the marvels of the internet. And today I am joined by Eric from all the way from Seattle, and Eric is responsible for Coregeek Cosplay and Creations, or is it Creations and Cosplay? Cosplay and
Cosplay and
Creations.
creations.
There we
The most
go.
the most unfortunate name I could have picked because it's just like it always gets jumbled up.
As long as they get all the words in, I suppose it's
I
okay.
should have just left it at Coregeek and just not even added the rest, but
No, I quite like that. And creations, that's quite cool. I've been playing around with the whole sort of like Sorenzo props. Maybe I should sort of, change the branding and go for like something else. Sorenzo Studio, Sorenzo Creations, Sorenzo's Design, or something like that. I like creations. It's good.
thank you. Yeah, it's funny because I always think, I wonder if I should rebrand as Coregeek Props because I really do more props than anything right now. The cosplay stuff is mostly just for me and my family, and I don't do any commission work for cosplay costumes. So I always think, should I just be props, But then it's like, if I rebrand everything, then it's all going to get messed up, and so I just like leave it. It's like whatever.
Yeah, it's just simpler to leave it, isn't it?
Yeah, it is what it is
Excellent.
now.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to get this show on the road. I have lots of questions, and anybody who is, oh, actually, sorry, we have to talk about stuff that's been happening, but actually, nothing's really happened this week. It was Easter. It was Zombie Jesus Day and Chocolate Egg Day. So I didn't really do anything. I'm casting some space guns, which is for a nice little project that I'm doing alongside the Mac Lab. But other than that, nothing else has really happened. Anything exciting happened in your world apart from Zombie Jesus Day, Eric?
Well, I have been working my tail off getting ready for Emerald City Comic Con, which
Yes, you
is
have.
which is next week. So I'm down to con crunch T minus 7 days, I think. So
Oh, wow. And I'm eating
um,
up an hour of your time.
yeah. So and it's been one of those things where when I'm working on stuff, it's all, we're doing like two or three costumes at a time because I have my family with me, and so I've been working solid straight for 2.5 months on all this stuff. So.
Excellent. Well, I want to get into that. But first of all, who the heck are you and what do you do?
Hey, my name is Eric Jones. Live in the Seattle, Washington area. Mostly a prop maker at this point. Do some cosplay and costuming. Got into it because of my kids. So we started going to cons together in about, I don't know, it's been 4 or 5, maybe 6 years now. My daughter and I, my oldest daughter and I, went to a con, and we'd never been to one before. I had friends that were always like, "Hey, you got to come to the con. You got to come to the con." And I finally went, and we were there, and we were just blown away by the costuming. And my daughter was like, "Hey, Dad, we got to do something next year." So the following year, she and my youngest daughter went as Daleks. So they were the dressed Daleks, and I didn't really do much with those costumes. My mother-in-law did because it was all fabric work, and my mother-in-law did all the dresses and everything. And I made like some little headlight things for the top of the Daleks and a plunger. It wasn't really difficult, but they were a huge hit, and they had a great time, and it just kind of snowballed from there. And then a couple years ago, my youngest daughter, she was finally like, "So when are you gonna actually get in costume with us?" And she talked me into doing Yzma and Kronk from The Emperor's New Groove. I don't know if you're familiar with that Disney movie, but so I went as Kronk to her Yzma, and then that kind of started my whole thing with getting into the cosplay. So, and then because of all that, people started asking me, hey, do you make this, or can you make this, or will you make this? And that's just kind of turned into my what's now my kind of second job side business of doing commissions for people. So it's a busy time because I have a regular full-time job and then do commission work on the side. And I'm busy, like everybody that does this kind of work. It's a passion, and you got to kind of do it all the time, or there's not enough time. So
definitely.
So that's my story in a nutshell.
Excellent. Yeah, because it was your crunk amusement that I first saw on the internet a couple of years ago, and I was just like, that's so badass. That is so cool. And then you just started like appearing everywhere on my feed.
Thank you.
And I was just like, right, I gotta get to know this guy. But tell me a little bit more about Eric, not the cosplayer, not Coregeek. What's your sort of background? What do you do? Give us a little like glimpse into who you are.
Oh, so my background, I have a degree in illustration and design back in the day, and it was like right before the computer revolution of desktop publishing and everything. So I mean, I'm a little older than most of your average cosplayers and stuff. So I worked first in the design print industry for a couple of years, and then I moved on to the web industry and did web interface design. Which at the time, I mean, everything's interconnected with the internet now, but at the time we were a special company because we did web-enabled apps, which was like a really big deal, right? But now it's like, what is an app without web enablation? I mean, it's just like my kids can't even comprehend a computer that doesn't connect to the internet, So that was like right at the cutting edge of stuff. And then there was a huge downturn with the kind of internet bust in 1999, 2000, right around there, and I ended up getting laid off and looking for a different line of work because there was just so many people in the Seattle area looking for the same types of jobs. So, and then I became a police officer because it sounded like fun. So, and I've been doing that ever since.
That's quite a jump, isn't it?
Yeah. People are always like, "Hey, were you in the military, or were you a boy?" I was always like, I wasn't even a Boy Scout. I didn't do military or anything like that. And it just looked like a fun job, and it looked interesting. And mostly, one of the things that I didn't like about doing computer design stuff is I sat in front of a computer all day. And it just got really kind of old and tiring to me after about 8 years of sitting at a desk in front of a computer. And so I was one of those occupations where it's kind of like it interested me. It was a good paying job at the time. It met my needs for my family and things like that. So, but on the side, I've always done like other projects and stuff because I have that design side of me that has kind of that need to create, which is something that I know a lot of creative people have. It's just like you don't really feel fulfilled unless you're creating something. Totally. So, and I think that's where the whole costuming and cosplay really speaks to me the most, is that I really see it as an art form, and when I do commissions, it's great because people pay me to do my art form. The sucky thing is shipping off the thing you just spent like a month of your life on.
Yeah.
You look at it for like 5 minutes, you're like, okay, let's ship it out of here, and then you're like, I don't really want to send it away.
Yeah. So take a pretty picture, put it in a box.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Excellent.
So that's my personal, and my daughters now are they're 19 and 16. My 16-year-old just had her birthday 3 days ago. So
awesome.
So I'm kind of an old dude, but still have a lot of fun with it anyway.
Excellent. So you first got into cosplay 4 or 5 years ago, was it, with your Dalek?
Yeah, approximately. It was about that. That.
Where did the props come into it? When did that all start happening? Because
what really changed things for me was the Loki costume, which I know you've seen.
Yeah.
We did that one for my oldest daughter. It was a collaboration between my mother-in-law and I. She did all the fabric work, which was impeccable, by the way. And I did all the props, all the armor, did all the detailing, like all the stupid zipper stops along the edging, which that costume has like 1,900 zipper stops that are all hand crimped on. And
wow.
It was just like detail after detail after detail. And once we put that out there in the wild, took it to some cons, got some photos taken, and that thing, it's still today, I still on a weekly basis get questions and people asking about that costume. And that was about 3 years ago, I think I did it. So that costume's been an amazing thing. So my first,
trying to find a photograph. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, there's a pretty good one of it. So, And that's most of that armor's, well, actually all the armor's Warbler.
Excellent. Oh, what's this popped up? Did I just disappear? Yep.
I don't know.
Oh, my.
There you go. Hey, you're back.
My antivirus just decided that I was a threat.
A threat to yourself. That's
I kind of panicked for a second. I was like, oh my God.
That means you're very special.
There we go. I'm back. I'm back. Let's just not do screen share again. Okay, so it was the Loki costume. And when did you first make a prop for yourself?
First prop for myself. I guess that would be the Calhoun rifle that I made last year. So, which is actually right there on the wall.
Yeah, I love that costume. It's so good.
Yeah, that just kind of started out as a joke because my family's a pretty big fans of Wreck-It Ralph, and I told my wife, is like, I really want to make the Calhoun armor. I think I could really nail it, you know, and just put a really good piece out there. And she's like, yeah, great, but I don't want to wear it. and so she's like, why don't you be Calhoun? And I'm like,
why not?
Because I'm a 40-year-old fat dude, and she's like 7 feet tall and is about as big as a toothpick and wears a corset, you know?
That's awesome.
But the more we talked about it, we're like, hey, yeah, you can be Fix-It Felicia, and I'll be Sergeant Calhoun ginger swapped. And yeah, we had a lot of fun with it. What's funny though is a lot of people don't recognize the Calhoun; they recognize Felix, and they look at me and go, hey, "Who are you supposed to be?" or they say, "Hey, are you from Mass Effect? That's like a really cool Mass Effect armor."
Yeah, I've never seen that one. Is that a custom skin?
Yeah. Well, I always say that that's kind of a testimony to how well I built it, because when I was doing research for it, I learned that the designers of the video game inside the movie for Wreck-It Ralph actually kind of based all their stuff on the Mass Effect look. So they kind of cribbed off that. So I don't get too upset about it, because it's like, hey, it still looks cool in either way, no matter what you think it is. So
yeah, people don't have to recognize your costume to respect that it's awesome.
Oh yeah, very true. Very, very true.
Yeah. So when did you take your first commission?
First commission was
what point? What did the person who commissioned you base their request to commission you on? I'm sure they saw you in some impressive costume somewhere.
You know, I'm not sure, because it was a gal from California that I'd never met in person, and she just emailed me one day and was like, hey, I think it was the Loki costume probably. She's like, I'm doing Sif, you know, Lady Sif, and I need a sword. Would you make it for me? So I look at the sword and I'm like, yeah, hey, that's pretty cool. So I took the commission, and the commission was just, you know, it wasn't a fully finished sword. It was just up to primer state, because they were going to finish it or whatever. And so I got it all done, and I was like, man, I really like this sword. I don't want to send it away.
I kind of lost you for a second there, but I'm assuming you had some fun with the sword and then sent it away. That's the last bit I got. But
well,
I just got the bad feedback.
Oh, okay. I actually got it done, and I actually didn't want to send it away. So
yeah.
So I ended up doing my first mold with that, which was the very first thing I ever molded, was a 2-part mold on that sword.
There you go. That's the clever idea. Make one and then make something to make more of them. Very, very good.
Yeah. So, and I totally just molded it so I could have my own copy. And then I started selling them, because people are like, hey, do you sell those? So, and I've sold so many of the molds, pretty much worn out at this point.
Excellent. So did you ever endeavor to sort of, you know, do it as a level that you're currently doing it now? Did you think to yourself, oh, I'm going to make this mold so I can sell copies, or was it simply, I just want one for myself?
Well, it was kind of 2-part. It was like, I did some looking around, and I didn't really see a lot of, you know, there's a few Etsy sellers that were selling like paper mache versions or something, but I was looking around to see if there was anything of, you know, what I considered the quality that I would want to buy from somebody out there. And I didn't really see anybody offering it. So I kind of thought maybe there was a little bit of a, you know, a very, very small limited market there. But my goal was to, if I could sell 5 of them, that would pay for all of the, and that was unfinished, not finished versions. So just the raw cast, if I could sell 5 raw casts, that paid for my silicone, and I'd be happy, because then I'm not out like $180 in silicone, you know, because that crap's expensive. So, and I made that in a week, so it worked out pretty good.
Excellent. So you kind of approached it with a business plan of sort.
Yeah, a little bit. I spent a lot of time talking to Bill over the past couple of years and picking his brain about Bill Doran from Punish Props.
Yeah.
Because we live in the same area, and I only live about an hour away from him, so I've been down to his shop a few times, and we see each other at cons. And so he's a great wealth of information, because he spent the last 4 years building a business out of this whole thing. And I've always kind of put my toe in the water as a business a little bit and take his feedback and learn and kind of glean from what he's learned, because he's had a long trial and error process. And I don't want to have to do all that. He can do all the research for me.
Yeah, I kind of wish I had met Bill like 4 years ago when I started out. Bill was at the stage he is now, because I've known Bill since we both started out, and we've always helped each other, and he's been a great help. But yeah, I kind of wish that I could jump to him now, like 4 years in the future, and be like, oh, what should I be doing at this point in my career?
Yeah, exactly. He's also the one that I learned from. He told me a long time ago, right when I first met him, because I was telling him, yeah, I'm thinking about maybe selling some kits or whatever. And he's like, well, the one thing I learned right off the bat was don't do armor. Don't do armor. Just stay away from it, because you have to deal with sizing and all that. It's just a big mess, And he's like, the great thing about props is they're one size fits all. You make one, anybody can use it, Yeah. So that's kind of one of the reasons I kind of veered off and started doing props more than costumes. But I also learned that through the few armor projects I've done, I don't enjoy making armor when it comes down to it. I can do it and it turns out fine, but it's not a process I like. So,
how many suits of armor have you built now?
3. So, and 2 of them weren't full suits. The Loki and then the Fierce Deity Link were more upper body type without any leg stuff. But the actual full suit, full body, the Calhoun's the only set of full armor I've built. So
why did you not enjoy it? Not that you didn't enjoy it. Why did you not enjoy it as much as making props?
It just took me a really long time.
Yeah. Oh, is that it? Took too long.
Well, because I found out that because I hadn't built any armor. Well, when I did Calhoun, the full body, I hadn't built any, anything, any legs or anything like that out of EVA foam. And what I learned was I ended up, basically making it twice to get things to fit the way I wanted to fit and look and sculpted the way I wanted to sculpt with the foam and everything. And it was just a long process. And I really needed about 3 months to do it. And I did it in like 5 weeks.
Oh, okay.
And I'm happy with how it turned out, but it's just kind of like, it's going to take me a while before I decide I'm going to do like a full armor piece again. So
did you feel like you actually had developed your skills from the first set you made to the last set you made?
Oh yeah, the second piece always looks so much better, and you can do it in like a third of the time.
So that is one thing. You might have a bad memory of making a particular thing because you were learning, but then when you come back to make it a second or a third time, you're like, hey, it's not so bad. I can do this quite easily. And then you find a whole heap of new mistakes to learn from, and that's another story.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like sometimes when I've had to redo pieces on things, even if it's just a small piece, sometimes it's a blessing in disguise because the second one always turns out so much nicer.
Yeah.
So, but there's not always time to like fix things like that, So, but that was the thing with the foam armor. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I'll probably build another full armor suit eventually again when I decide what I want to do. But I really only do one costume a year for myself. Because I don't really have time to do more than that. So when it comes down to it, I only have at this point 2.5 costumes.
That's all right. I've still not built a full suit of armor yet. I can't find the time to build anything for myself. So you're way ahead of me in that regards.
Yeah.
So what are you working on right now? Because I'm dying to get into this for yourself.
So you want to see it?
Oh,
my arm?
Yes, please.
Okay. It's not totally assembled yet. But,
I know, but still awesome.
But it's mostly there. So this is the middle finger that.
Oh wow.
The claw that articulates right there. So this is for the Furiosa arm. So I'm doing a gender bent Furiosa. So the arm's right here. I'll try if I can slip it.
So cool.
It's easier to show you if I put it on. So, gotta put it back together. Give me just 1 second here.
That's all right. Take your time.
So I haven't shown this to anybody yet, just so you know, other than my wife and my kids.
You've been putting up teaser pictures, haven't you?
Yeah, I like to kind of tease my stuff.
Yeah.
It's a little more fun to build a little anticipation that way. Okay, so here we go.
Wow.
So, and this one, because of the way your thumb moves, you can't turn it, but you can articulate it like this and then use the closer. And then all the fingers have full. And then this one I just haven't put on yet because it has a cable that goes on there. So it'll look like that when it's all done. So, and then the movement articulates too. I'll get this where it needs to be, about right there. So when you move your wrist and stuff, the little fake, all those move. So it's got pretty good movement. It's not perfect, but it'll work. So there she is. Have a lot of dirtying up to do on some of these nuts and things that I haven't been able to weather yet, and then a lot of rust to add to it. So, but it's close. It's very close. So okay, that's.
I have to talk now. I couldn't talk because if I talk, the camera will come on to me. But that's so awesome! The coolest thing ever.
Thanks.
That's incredible, dude. You should be really proud of that one.
I'm pretty happy with it. It's actually been really fun to make. So sometimes I start making something and it's just a slog, and you just get it done because you got to get it done. And this one, it's like I've been taking my time, probably too much time, but it's just been a blast to make. So, and it's mostly
fantastic.
It's mostly all aluminum.
Can you get it off now?
Yeah, it's off. So anyway, there's that. I did a full Immortan Joe for my youngest daughter. She'll be Immortan Jane, or Joan, I guess she was. She likes Joan better than Jane for some reason. Let me grab the mask for it real quick.
Okay, go for it. Okay, guys, so there's people, the Q&A app is actually working this week, which is phenomenal. So there are people who are asking questions on the Q&A app. So if you have some questions for myself or Eric, you should go ahead and ask them there. And we'll see about getting to them a little bit later on. So yeah, the Q&A app working, go for it, ask some questions. And those of you who have asked questions already, I will answer them later on. Oh, wow.
Okay, so here's the back bellows, and then the hoses, and let's see if I can get and there's the mask for her, which I still haven't put the head rigging on it yet, so I got to do that in the next couple of days and get it ready to go. But where that joint is right there, there's a magnetic connector, so those pop out so we can take it off easily. So some of these parts, all of the hose connectors, like this one here, and the hose connectors there, and the air filters were all 3D printed by my buddy Rarbaum. Thomas, he does a really awesome Immortan Joe. So I tapped him for some of those parts that I knew would be really hard to make and I wouldn't have time to do. So
is he doing like the Immortal Joe Donald Trump crossover costume?
Yeah, that's him.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
I'm gonna set this down. Hold on. My cord for my headphones isn't long enough.
No, that's okay, dude. We got you.
So yeah, he's probably got one of the most accurate full Joes I've ever seen, because he did the chaps with all the leg pieces and everything, and then oh, I have one more piece.
Wow, we're getting all the treats tonight. How cool is this? We get to see stuff that other people are making firsthand. This is awesome. What have we got?
Okay, so, and one of the last one that I can kind of show off is the ceremonial buckle. So the master for this was all scratch built. It's mostly Sentra, epoxy sculpt for the skull in the center, and then these are all cold cast. So
amazing.
anyway, really happy with how that piece turned out too.
And you're premiering these costumes at Emerald City Comic Con at the
Yeah.
weekend, yeah?
Yeah.
Awesome, that's going to be so good. I'll be attached to the internet waiting for photographs of that.
Well, thanks for letting me show some stuff off.
No, thanks, dude. That was awesome. It's great to see stuff up close and personal like that. I wish I just could actually see it like proper in the flesh, but maybe someday we'll get to meet. We'll get to hang out at the con.
I would love to come visit you sometime.
Excellent. I'd love to come visit you, dude. Are you hitting Dragon Con this year?
I've never done Dragon Con.
No.
I don't know if I'll get there this year, but I would like to be there one of these years. So
yeah, I'm just gonna keep on saying it every week that I'm going to Dragon Con this year. So then,
are you really?
Yeah, I'm just gonna say it. Like, I don't know how I'm actually going to get there, but I'm just gonna say it all the time.
Oh, you're just going. You're just going.
It'll just happen because
hell or high water.
Because I believe it'll happen.
Hey, no, I think you can do it. I probably should just do the same thing. But
that is the plan. I can always just get a credit card and just max it out. It'll be crazy. It's okay.
Yeah.
Future Tom can pay for all that stuff.
Yeah, screw that future Tom guy.
Yeah. He's minted. He's got all the money. So successful. But tell me, what is your favorite con that you've been to so far? What con do you enjoy the most and why?
Well, I haven't been to a lot of bigger cons. You know, Emerald City is the biggest one that we've done, and mostly that's because of traveling expensive, because we do it as a family, and you know, you're building 4 costumes. That's expensive in and of itself every year, and then travel and accommodations for 4 people and all that. So that being said, if I did Dragon Con, I would probably just go by myself. So but we mostly stick to Rose City Comic Con, which is in Portland, Emerald City, which is in Seattle, and Lilac City. And then I've done PAX a few times on my own because I'm part of a panel group that usually does some cosplay paneling stuff at PAX. So, you know, I really used to love Emerald City a lot. It's not my favorite con anymore because it's gotten super crowded and super huge. I probably enjoy Rose City the most out of the ones I've been to, mostly because it's like what Emerald City was about 5 years ago. So, and I still have a great time at Emerald City. It's packed. There's so many people now because it's sold out. It's like, it sells out like in the first day that the tickets go on sale now. And it's,
wow,
you know, and that conference center is massive and it's just packed with people. So, so in the past it was Emerald City, maybe now it's Rose City a little more.
Okay, so you prefer the smaller conventions?
Yeah, and actually even Lilac City, it's a tiny con. It's like, you know, 1 convention room, and, you know, there's maybe, you know, 5% of the people in cosplay there last year. We went as official guests, but it was a lot of fun too. So all those local cons are good. Yeah, I kind of like the smaller ones better because it's easier to get around, and you can meet people a lot easier, and it's just not so crazy. So anyway,
there's yeah, a lot of conventions, they get very big very fast, and they just try and ram as many people into a giant room as possible, and it's not very enjoyable at all.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Emerald City goes this year, because they used to be owned by a couple of locals that started the con, a couple of brothers, and this last year they sold to the conglomeration Reed Pop, which runs C2E2 and New York City Comic Con and all of the PAX conferences. So it'll be interesting to see what that kind of larger corporate influence, how it's going to change the kind of the vibe of the con. Because even though Emerald City was really huge, it was still kind of a local con, even though it was massive. And now it's kind of like, you know, really corporate. So we'll see how that goes, which is kind of interesting to say corporate cons, but they do exist.
Corporate cons, yeah. I like to call them consumer cons, where it's just all about, you know, scraping every little penny out of every person. Not giving you an experience, just giving you ways to empty your wallet.
Exactly. So I'm hoping it still keeps some of that local flavor, because it's always kind of been its own beast, you know, and maybe not completely to the consumer con, but maybe not. Who knows?
Awesome. So, tell me, do you and your family enter cosplay competitions when you go to cons?
We've only done one once, and we did it with my daughter's Loki a couple years ago at Rose City Comic Con, and it was like an all day thing. And so we just decided that contests really weren't for us, if that makes sense. We just spent so much time. You spend a lot of time in line waiting for prejudging, because they did all the prejudging there instead of like beforehand. And that took a couple hours waiting in line, just standing there. It's fun to meet people you're standing in line with, because they're all other costumers and stuff. So that's pretty cool. And then by the time you do the contest, this one, I mean, it started at like 7 or 8 at night, and by the time she's on stage, it was like 2 hours later, standing in line. And it just wasn't a fun experience, just that whole waiting thing. Doing the contest was cool, and she had a lot of fun with that, but we just decided that it's a lot more fun to not stand in line all day.
yeah, totally. It is a downside of it. It usually takes 2 or 3 hours, particularly for the big cons. You might have like 100 people on a stage. So they all have to stand around somewhere.
So it's not like I'm opposed to contests or anything. I think it's pretty awesome. I've often thought, it's like, what would be a really good way to like streamline the contest kind of thing? And it's just such a nightmare of people and, hours and hours of work. And so it's just like, I'm not sure how you could do it. I've even judged a couple. Well, actually I judged one. It was Jet City, which is a small comic show in Tacoma, the city just kind of south of us. And, and that was all day just being a judge. And I was there for that, so that was fine. But even that's just a lot of work when it comes down to it. So
yeah, I've judged quite a few cosplay competitions, and they can be more work than they're worth sometimes. Especially when you got judges that just don't agree on anything. It can always be a bit of a nightmare. But yeah, the cosplay competitions in general can be a bit of a headache. Have you heard about my company, CosCon?
Yes, I have.
So our ideal for to deal with that problem is to keep the venues, the events small, and just keep the numbers really, really low, and not try and cram 5,000 people in and get all their money. It's more aiming for like, a couple of hundred. And our competitions have like, 20, 30 people maximum. And it's great because those people really sort of dedicate their time and effort, and they don't have to stand around all day. They don't have to waste their entire time. They can actually enjoy the convention. And it's been really, really successful. We're just shaping up to announce a couple of events for Scotland for the rest of the year. We've just about got everything locked in place, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that sounds like a cool gig. I'd love to be a part of it sometime. So.
Yeah, it was a company based on looking at how other companies did everything so wrong.
And you know what? Sometimes that's how some of the best companies come about.
Yeah. But you are already on the list of potential guests when we make it big time, and we have the size of venue that we want, and we can afford to fly people from around the world. We'll just get our buddies over for a good old weekend.
Well, I'd say pencil me in. I'm ready to go.
Awesome. No problem. You're on the list. Don't worry, dude. So tell me about your workspace. Where do you work from? How does that all work out? Do you work from home, or do you have a shed or a shop? Or
well, I have a 2-story house. So the bottom story is split with a family room, and the other side is a garage space. And the previous owners had split the garage into 3 rooms, but they split it like short. So my garage is like really short. You could, if it works well for my motorcycle, but you can't park a car in there because the garage is super short. Okay. And so my main workroom, which is I'm in right now, is the kind of the clean spot. So this is like inside the part of the house. And then I have my shop space, which is half of that other part. It's a quarter of the full-size garage, which has all my sanders and all my power tools and all that, where I make mess and paint and do all that kind of work. So yeah, I work out of my house. I have a decent setup. I have quite a bit of space. I mean, it's not massive, but it gives me enough room to move around and stuff. I mean, I know some people that make all their stuff in their dining room in a 1-bedroom apartment, so it's just like, I feel kind of spoiled with the space that I have. But then I look at somebody like Harrison, and he's got like this massive shop, and it's like, oh man, that would be amazing.
Yeah, having a shop is definitely a bonus, but then again, you also have to pay for the shop, which
exactly.
not very nice.
And I already had the garage shop space set up because as something I forgot to mention when you asked me to tell you about myself was. I've been a hobbyist woodworker ever since I was in my teens, starting in shop class and stuff in high school. So my workspace was mostly built out to be a wood shop. Did a lot of furniture building and speaker cabinet building, and some stuff like that over the years. So my shop was kind of already ready for that. So
Oh, okay.
It kind of translates over into the props and things. So because a lot of people are like, wow, you've only been doing this a few years, your stuff's pretty amazing. And I'm like, well, I've been building stuff since, for literally 30 years. So
there you go.
It's just the materials have changed,
Yeah, but it's transferable skills, what you learn in woodwork is more or less the same as what you would do with foam or Warbler for that matter,
Yeah, but one thing, it's funny because I was talking about, projects that go on forever. I mean, when I was doing furniture building, it wouldn't be uncommon to spend like 9 months on a piece,
Yeah.
And one of the things I like about props is that, generally most props I can build within, 2 to 4 weeks, depending on my time frame with my work and everything else and the extra time that I have. And that's like a super quick turnaround compared to doing woodworking stuff. So I think that's one of the other things I enjoy about props too, is that there, I don't have to spend like literally months perfecting something or, because woodworking, it's like zero tolerance.
Yeah.
You can't just fill. I mean, if you're good at it, you don't just fill things in with filler and call it good. I mean, it's a zero tolerance kind of thing, and you might be sawing like an $80 board and make the wrong cut, and you're like, crap. Okay, there goes $80 down the drain. I got to go buy another one, So, and with like EVA foam, it's like, hey, I can make all the mistakes I want because $20 a pack.
There you go. Just throw it on the ground and start again.
Yeah, exactly.
So what would be your dream project? Something that you could spend unlimited amount of time and money and effort on if you had all the time and money and energy in the world to spend on one project?
As far as costuming goes?
Yeah, costuming, prop. What would you really like to build if sort of time and money was no obstacle?
I haven't really given it much thought to props, but and this is funny because I said I hate building armor so much, but I would love. I'm a big fan of the movie Pacific Rim. I know it gets a lot of hate.
I love it. I absolutely adore it, dude.
I love that movie, man. And I don't know. I don't know what other people are expecting because it's giant mechs fighting kaijus.
Yes.
Bam pow. I mean, it's like, what else do you want from a movie? So anyway, a side note. So, but the dream would be is I would love to build drive suits for my daughters and then build and then build the one of the mechs for me. So
the Jaeger.
Yeah, one of the Jaeger. That's the word.
Yeah,
I'm like, what the heck are those things called? Build a and not like and get it like good size, like 9 feet tall, kind of up there in scale. And I just think that would be really cool. So to have them like in the drive suits and then have the Jaeger there too. So
that would be awesome because a pilot.
Oh, go ahead.
A pilot suit has been on my dream build list. I've started it and restarted it several times over the last 5 years. I've only managed to get like a shoulder plate done.
I love those suits.
But your idea to have like your daughters wearing the suits and then to build a huge Jaeger is so much cooler than mine. That would be awesome. Oh, the family that cosplays together, that's pretty cool, dude.
Yeah, that would just be a blast. I love those drive suits too. That's an amazing. Just the design in that movie just blows me away. So
no, it's incredible. I'm kind of glad that people just kind of forgot about it because now it's like it's mine. I can have it myself. I put it on every couple of months, and I'm just like, yes, the music and everything's so cool.
I know my oldest daughter. She just is a total freak for it, and she was telling me the other day. She's like, because one of her jobs around here is to mow the lawn, and nobody likes mowing the lawn around here. And she's like, I always just put on the Pacific Rim soundtrack because it helps me just kind of plow through it, all pumped up.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I did listen to it for a while in the workshop. I kind of forgot about it. That's tomorrow what I'm going to do. I'm going to put on that soundtrack and see what I can get done.
Yeah, when I'm actually like, exercising regularly and running like I should. That's like my go-to if I'm just feeling like my butt's kicked and I can't quite muster the energy. I crank that soundtrack on and it usually kind of gets me going. So.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. It's like a modern day Rocky. It's like
yeah,
Rocky for robots. It's cool.
yeah, totally right.
Right, I love that. We just totally sidetracked and broed out over.
wait, I have to ask you because there's another kind of sci-fi movie that I love that some people hate. How do you feel about Starship Troopers?
Starship Troopers is amazing, dude.
Yes,
so good. I don't know about the second and the third and the 17th.
No, the sequels are terrible. And actually, the animated series they did was pretty good.
I've not seen the animated series. No,
it was called the Roughnecks or something like that. So I watched that for a while. It was pretty good. But yeah, Starship Troopers is another one of those that I kind of in my own little corner. I love that movie. It's like a go-to if I just want to watch a stupid fun movie. There's so many cool like armor and weapons and ships, and so anyway, very underrated.
When I first started out, I got a commission request for a Starship Trooper uniform, and I was kind of like, "Yes, this is amazing!" And like, I was kind of thinking the whole uniform, the whole costume would be like, the whole armor would be thousands, and the guy was thinking like 100 max. And I was like, "Oh no!"
yeah.
Sorry,
and that's
dude,
always
can't help you.
And that's always the rub too, especially when you first start taking commissions, right? It's like, hey, can you build me this for $50?
Yeah, I can, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like usually I'm like, you realize $50 won't even cover the materials for this, right?
No, I wouldn't even get out of bed for $50 in perfectly honest.
Yeah, exactly.
So tell me, what's your plan for Coregeek, or do you have one? Are you just going to keep on going the way you've been going, or do you sort of see it going in any particular direction?
I really don't know. I really don't know. So I'm happy kind of doing the full-time, part-time thing for now, but it's a lot of hours. If I could turn it into a viable business, I would quit my day job and do a business. But so far I haven't found that way to keep my family living lifestyle where it needs to be and be a full-time prop maker. So if I can figure out that perfect secret formula, please tell me. I'll jump on board. But one of the things that I've learned from like all you guys, like you and Bill and all the guys that have turned it into a full-time business, is that don't jump into it too quickly. So, and maybe I'm a little more cautious about that because, as far as I know, you don't have any kids, right?
No. No.
So, and I got a family to take care of. So it's like, and there's like really important things like health insurance and, all those kind of things that we're used to and have had for years and years and years. And I'm not ready to give all that stuff up to kind of follow that dream of, working for myself. I will say though, I've always wanted to work for myself.
Yeah.
From day one, way back to before I even started doing what I'm doing now, I just knew that I don't like having a boss. I like being the boss for myself, because I don't necessarily like being a supervisor either. I've had jobs where I've supervised people, and that's not my gig either. But I like being my own person and doing my own thing. So my dream would be to turn it into a business someday, but I don't know if that's going to happen. But for now, I can do what I've been doing and still enjoy it. And pretty much as long as my wife will put up with it, and as long as people are willing to pay me to build them cool stuff, then I'll just keep building cool stuff for people.
Awesome. Yeah, I suppose that's the way you want to keep it happy. I've had lots of bosses in my past before I started this, and I can tell you that my current boss is the worst of the lot. Like, he doesn't pay me.
What a jerk,
right? He doesn't let me leave early. He makes me work weekends. He is just the worst. Yeah. So watch out for that guy. Your new boss could be the worst guy ever.
Total slave driver.
Yeah. Like me, it's 9 p.m. and I'm still here. Like, let me go.
Yeah, what the heck?
No, that's awesome. Like, when I first started out, like, I was broke and I had nothing better to do, so I just kind of went for it. But having a family and having commitments and you know, stuff like that. It is obviously got to be a big consideration for doing something crazy like that, like starting a prop company. But no, I wish you all the best, man. You've got the talent for it. That's the most important thing, you know. You've definitely got the talent for it.
Well,
So,
thank you. I appreciate you saying that. So
yeah.
it's always humbling to have people whose work I respect tell me that, you know, they like my stuff. So
No, dude, you deserve it, definitely. We've had some questions come in on the Q&A app, and they've been racking up, so I thought I might as well get through them before I get to finishing off the show and asking the last few questions. So let me see, where do we start from? I don't know what order they came in, so let's go for this one, and this is from, oh, I've just lost the name, Craft Castiglione. That's cool.
oh yeah, that's my buddy Matt that lives here in Seattle.
Okay, well, Matt is wanting to know, will you be selling casts or kits of your branded wrench? Because he'd probably buy one. Probably buy one. He didn't commit to that. He's just like, yeah, I'll probably buy one. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I don't know if you noticed that or not, but on the, it's a little Easter egg on the arm. So when I did because this wrench I cast, so it cut down on weight, I put my brand on the, can you read the Coregeek on there? So that's what he's asking about. I don't know if I'll sell them because I honestly don't know if people would buy them. I mean, even Matt's not totally committing at this point. No. So, but my plan is to maybe have a few to give away at Emerald City. So
it could be like a business card.
So you might get a freebie if you find me.
There we go.
And if I have enough time to make a bunch.
I'm sure I'll be keeping an eye out with you. Let me see. We've got Kat Valkyrie. And Kat is saying, fun to stop by for a bit. See you at Emerald City Comic Con. And there's a winky smiley face there.
Have you seen her work at all? Valkyrie.
I'm just looking at our preview. I think so.
Yeah.
What's your Facebook name?
I think it's Valkyrie Studios, if I remember right.
Oh yes. I think I do know her. Yeah.
Yeah, she's pretty incredible armor builder.
Yeah. We'll put links to that in the show.
Oh, and I have to mention for Matt too. Matt does a really awesome hiccup from How to Train Your Dragon. Just impeccable. Some of the most amazing work I've ever seen.
Has Matt got a Facebook page?
It's Craft Castellone, or however you say his last name.
Oh, okay. Yep. Awesome. I'm just making my show notes. Yeah, everything that we've talked about tonight will be in the show notes. But sorry, where was I? I just totally lost. So yeah, thanks for that, Kat, and we'll make sure to check out your Facebook page later on.
Looking forward to you, Kat.
Okay, so Zachary is asking, Cherry City Comic Con is coming up in Salem, Oregon, only around 45 minutes from Portland, where Rose City Comic Con is. Can you ask if you've ever been, Eric, or would you consider going there? So that's Cherry City in Salem, which is where Zachary's from.
I've heard of it. My buddy Ryan Wells is usually there. I haven't had a chance to go yet because because it hasn't been going for very long as far as I know, only like 3 or 4 years. But the past couple of years, it's always been while I've had something else scheduled. So I would consider going, especially if they want to bring me as a featured guest. I'd go in a heartbeat because that makes it a lot easier for me.
Awesome.
So yes, maybe with stipulations. There you go.
There you go, Zachary. We should get on to your convention organizers and tell them that there's an amazing cosplayer just only an hour or so away that would be happy to come as a guest.
Well, it's more like 5 hours for me. It's
is it 5 hours? Oh, okay.
Well, it's an hour away from Portland, which is 4 hours from me. And
okay, so it's a bit of a trek, isn't it? We've got Alan Sessing Hunter will definitely commit to one of those wrenches. So there you go.
That's my buddy Alan, who's an awesome builder here in
there you go. You've got one yes and a maybe for the wrenches.
All right, I better start tallying these up.
Yeah. Federico Monfalcon, which is a cool name.
Oh, another amazing builder. He's in Europe somewhere, I believe.
Okay, so we'll have to make a note of that as well.
Oh, and Alan before, he goes by Comic Ash Studios.
Oh, I don't have to ask you the question about who you're currently looking at prop wise, but yeah,
Or
Eric.
I
Oh,
meant
sorry,
cosmic. I said comic. I think I said cosmic. Comic. It's actually cosmic. Sorry.
Cosmic. Cool. So Federico Monfalcon says that Eric will be the most sexy Furiosa on the road. And there's a love heart there and everything for you, dude.
Oh man, I don't know if I'm ready for that. Okay, so here's my joke lately, right? Because last year I did Calhoun, and this year I'm doing Furiosa. So I decided that next year I need to find another completely inappropriate woman that I need to cross-play to have like the trilogy of three inappropriate women.
Yeah,
I really,
totally.
it's like the trilogy of women that I really shouldn't have any business cosplaying, but I do anyway because that's the kind of guy I am.
Do it. Why not? You can do whatever you want these days. But like,
Yeah.
there's so many badass women characters, and it's like only now it's like kind of accepted that guys are allowed to dress up as them and like dominate them because they're cool characters, cool designs, cool costumes. Why can't we
Yeah.
wear them? You know?
Well, I love Furiosa, and from the day I saw the movie, I was like, I want to build that hand, but I didn't think it was going to be for me. I figured it'd be for my wife or one of my daughters. And again, this year it kind of started as a joke because my youngest daughter Emily is only like 5 foot tall, right? And I was just like, hey, wouldn't it be funny if you were Immortan Joe? Because she's tiny,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, and then it just and as soon as I said that, because my girls, they both saw Mad Max in the theater like 8 times or something crazy, right?
Wow.
And as soon as I said that, it was like, that's what we're doing. You're not changing this plan. And for like 3 months, I was like, how about Star Wars? How about this? Because I wanted to do like a Star Wars bounty hunter group and some other stuff. And they're like, no, we're doing Fury Road and you're going to make it.
Wow. Okay, so
And
I
they're
can see
like,
how that family works. It's like you're making it. We're choosing it. You're making it.
yeah. And you're tall and don't have any hair. So you're Furiosa.
It's kind of an obvious choice, wasn't it?
I'm like, you guys realize you're pigeonholing, you're typecasting me into gender bent cosplays, right?
Yeah. You can only do bald girls. That's it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Have you seen the Deadpool movie?
I haven't.
No.
I haven't had time. I haven't had time.
There's a bald chick in that as well, so you can see it.
Oh yeah, is that
Yeah. Well, I can't.
teenage
Yeah. She's in. I can't think of her name. I started saying that.
Negasonic Teenage Warhead? Is that her name?
That I think so. That's it. Yeah. So yeah, you could always do that one. There's not many props in it. It's just more sort of an actual costume. But you can get your sewing machine out and start practicing.
Hey, I did some sewing yesterday.
I know. I saw that. I saw your Facebook page. You were sewing. It's great fun. I love sewing. I love getting my sewing machine out.
I actually enjoy sewing. I wish I did more of it. I don't really want to take on a whole costume or something, but for the kind of utility stuff that I have to do, it's kind of fun to just do that. It's a little more peaceful than like sawing and sanding and painting and all that. So I don't mind it.
Excellent. No, I love a bit of sewing. I'm desperate to do like a full sort of sewing costume for myself, but again, finding the time for these things.
Yes. Time is always the question, right? Always.
Yeah. Where can we find more of it? We can't mold and cast time, unfortunately. It'd be pretty simple, pretty good. So let me see questions. So Stand Easy Cosplay, it's my buddy Anthony, and he's got a question for me. And they're finding it hard to find a barge glue replacement in the UK. Do I have any UK equivalents to recommend? And it just so happens that I do. So do you use barge, Eric?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
So barge is a contact cement, which works really well at sticking two pieces of material together forever. So the UK equivalents, we've got some cheap and nasty ones that you can get from Screwfix. There's a brand called EvoStick, which work quite well, but they're not that strong. The strongest one that you can get, I thought I had one here, is Alpha Fixofix. Which is available through Amazon. And it's also available from a company called RS, which I think is UK wide. So I'll leave notes to that in the description below. But yeah, it's Alpha Fixofix, I think is how I say it. It's really quite good. So get yourself some of that if you're working with foam or leather or even works with fabric. It's great. So thanks for that, Anthony. And we've got Terry Butler. Are you familiar with Terry Butler?
Oh yeah, Terry makes some amazing weapons. Wow.
Terry is pretty sweet. All right, I've actually
Yeah, he's actually one of the kind of first prop makers I found on the internet way back when.
Same. He was definitely one of the first that I came across. He has got a question for both of us. And what is the favorite prop that we have made? So you got that one, Eric? Did you pick a favorite?
Oh, it's so hard to pick. It's like my children, you know. Wow. Well, it's like saying what's your favorite movie. Do you have one?
Depends on your opinion, doesn't it? Yeah.
Do you want to go for it? I
I
have to think about it.
No,
I can talk about my props.
it does change. Like I suppose it'll be my Daft Punk helmets, but last year I wasn't saying that because I had my fill of Daft Punk helmets, but I kind of took a break from them for a while. And I'm just starting some big Daft Punk commissions, so I'm kind of getting excited about it again, and just realizing that it's something that I've spent like 4 years, 5 years working on. And I'm going to take it to the next level now with electronics and everything, and got some new design ideas to make it a lot easier for kind of hobbyists to build their own, so they don't have to be so daunted by the task. So I would think it was my Daft Punk helmets, but I also really like my Red Hood helmet. It's like just such a steady, just a beautiful symmetrical prop. It's so simple. I'm giving one away on my Patreon, which is ending tomorrow. So yeah, one lucky supporter is going to get my Red Hood helmet. But that's one of my favorites. I love making them. I love casting them. I love how they look when they're painted. I love seeing them at conventions. So it's kind of a toss between those two, I think.
So for me, probably, well, the one I'm probably most proud of, and maybe not my favorite, but one I'm really the most proud of is the rocket launcher I did for Farah for Overwatch last year.
Yeah.
And mostly because that's almost completely a foam build. And when most people look at it, they're like, really? That's foam?
Yeah.
You know, and I didn't do the paint work on it because I didn't have enough time because I had to do another commission that had to be done for the same con, which is BlizzCon. But I brought that all the way up to primer, and it was just it took me like a month and a half. It was a slog. I wanted to drop kick it so many times, but I really feel like I nailed like the whole design of that weapon, which had a ton of like angles and curves and tapers and everything. And so I'm really, really proud of that piece. But in a weird way, like one of my favorite, probably my favorite prop is Zero Suit Samus's paralyzer pistol that I made for Alicia Bellamy, who goes by Brute Vixen. There's just something about that simple pistol that I just love that thing, and I really didn't want to send it away. So had I had the time, I didn't have enough time because it was like one of those things. She got a hold of me like 2 or 3 weeks before the con and said, "Hey, can you make this for me?" And because she's a friend of mine, I said yeah. So and I made it for her. But had I had the time, I would have done it out of MDF and a little more sturdy components and mold and casted it. But as it was, I built it all out of foam, which turned out great. And for some reason, I just like that little pistol a lot.
Excellent. One of your prop pieces that is a particular favorite of mine is your Tariel's daggers. And
yeah. Oh, I forgot about those. I love those too.
They are beautiful, dude. They are so beautiful. I showed that to my girlfriend. She's desperate to do a cosplay, and just showed her those daggers the other day, and she just fell in love with them. But Willard from Second Nature Effects, hey Willard, he's asking, are you still doing kits, or will you be doing them again in the future?
Yeah, I sell a kit of the Tariel daggers. The Sif sword kit is still available. I kind of priced that a little higher so they wouldn't sell as well, because the mold's almost shot, and it's a lot more work for me and I don't have the master because the original commission was for the master.
Oh, okay.
Because I wasn't originally planning on molding and casting it. And so I kind of priced it to a point where it's like, okay, if somebody wants to order the kit for this price, then I'll do it, because it's a lot more work for me to clean it up because the mold's getting kind of bad. It's just more work on my end. It looks just as good, but it's just more work for me. And then I'm selling some of the Immortan Joe pieces right now too on my Etsy store. So you can buy like these dudes. It's the skull from the So that's the skull from the center of his ceremonial buckle. And then you can buy it with the option of like a screw post in it for like attaching to like the grill of your car or whatever.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
I made one for my daughter and I put it on the internet, of course, and everybody's like, hey, can you make those for me? So I started selling those too. And then that's over here. I also have the Furiosa, her insignia, which is also cold cast. You can buy those on my site on Etsy. And then I don't have it posted yet because I've been waiting because I don't have time to make them. As soon as Emerald City is over, I'll post the kit for the Joe ceremonial buckle that I showed. So it'll be all 5 pieces. You have to figure out how to put them together, which isn't that hard. Yeah. And it's just raw cold cast. So you have to do the little, they're really clean out of the mold. So there's really not any cleanup. It's all mostly just the polishing with steel wool and then making it as shiny as you want because it's cold cast. So those will be up soon too. So yeah, depending on the project and what I'm doing, I might end up selling kits. A lot of times I try to take commissions I know I could probably turn into a kit that would sell well. So
that's generally the way to do it. Yep.
Yeah.
Excellent. So Leela Waters is asking, she has been doing a lot of learning with new types of materials to work with, and she wants to know what our favorites are. What is your favorite? Can you pick a favorite? Is it like your children?
Of materials?
Yeah.
You know, I really like working with foam a lot.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if I'm setting out to do a project, my first thing is going to be, how can I make this out of foam? Or can I make this out of foam? And then if I decide for whatever reason it's not going to work with foam, then I'll go to, the next whatever material and go from there. But foam's just so versatile and you can kind of bend it to your will as much as you want. And it's quick, and that's mostly because you can cut it with a knife, So for most stuff, foam's kind of my go-to. If I'm building more detailed stuff and I know I'm going to cast it and I want it to be like super precise and stuff, then I'm going to work with MDF or styrene or, a combination of that, harder materials. MDF, because I have a lot of woodworking tools, MDF tools amazing. So you can route it and saw it and sand it to your heart's content. And, it's a great material. I haven't done a lot of building with it, mostly because usually it's quick turnaround one-offs anyway, and they're going to be carried at a con. And foam just works so well for that because, like the Calhoun rifle behind me, that thing's huge, but it weighs less than 2 pounds.
Yeah.
So
that's got to be a consideration when you're carrying something around all day. Yeah, I don't know. It depends on. It really depends on what you're making, doesn't it? Because I actually had a very interesting phone call with a new prop and cosplay materials company that has started up in the UK, and they were talking to me today about some new materials that I'm hopefully going to be trialing for them. But it really depends on what you're making and what your outcome is, because I use hundreds of different materials, and I might just use a tiny little bit of material to make one tiny little part. But I suppose if you're cosplaying, foam is always the way to go, isn't it? Cheap, easy to work with. If you screw up, you can just start again and it doesn't cost you a bomb, and you can learn a lot from it. So yeah, thanks for that, Leela.
So I have to throw out there, because was that Lila that asked that question?
Sorry, Lila, yeah.
Okay, she goes by Thena Cosplay, Theena.
Thena Cosplay, but that on my list.
She does a lot of Warbler, and it's freaking amazing.
Yeah, you've worked a bit with Warbler, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. In fact, some of the pieces on the hand for Furiosa, some of those parts are, and in fact, what you were just talking about, whatever the best material for the job is. I mean, a lot of the hand is all aluminum because it just seemed to work because it was mostly metal anyway. And I didn't want to have to spend a lot of time making something look like metal. Why not just use metal? So, but some of the pieces, it was like way beyond me as like a metalsmith, because I'm not a metalsmith whatsoever. Yeah. So a lot of those parts I made out of black Warbler. So, yeah. And there's everything from, there's styrene, there's Sintra, Warbler, aluminum. In fact, the only thing that's not on this arm is foam.
Are you going to have to sneak some in there somewhere?
I know, right? Now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, there's not one piece of foam. But like the Joe mask, the majority of the Joe mask is foam, and the teeth are Warbler. So it just I'm really big on it's like you work with materials enough that you know what you can do with it. And so it's kind of like just matching what your skill is with that material to what you want to create.
Yeah.
And that's where I feel like I'm at with mine. It's just like, I love foam. It's great, but maybe it's not, like the teeth
for everything.
I could have made the teeth out of foam, but I knew it would be difficult because they're so small and they'd be hard to sand. So that's why I used warbler.
Excellent. Yeah, I think Lila's already doing that. She's doing her experimentation, which is the way forward. Experiment as much as you can whenever you can. That's my advice. So who have we got here? We've got Beverly Downen, and she is so excited to see Furiosa and the gang and checking out your panel. And she loves the arm so much. So thanks for that, Beverly.
And Beverly's one of my friends in Downen Creative Studios, DOWNEN. And she does a Furiosa herself that's pretty badass. So
awesome.
And I have to say, she's been a very helpful resource for me. So whenever I get stuck, I'm like, hey, how'd you do this? Or hey, I'm running out of time. Can I have the pattern for your shoulder piece?
Oh, that's awesome.
And she's really, really helpful. And she's like, she sent it to me right away. And, because some of that stuff, it's like patterning takes forever. It's like, I need to just build this thing right now.
Yeah. It's always good to have friends that have done something before you. You can kind of pick their brain.
Yeah, I've had several Furiosa cosplayers that have helped me with patterns and other things. I'm going to do a big write-up at the end and thank them all, because without that community of other people that have already done it, I wouldn't have been able to get it done as quickly as I have. So,
excellent. Well, that took quite a while getting through all those questions. Thanks to everybody who asked questions. It's great to actually have that Q&A app up and running so people can contribute.
Well, and thanks to everybody for watching. That was cool.
Yeah, we're getting record viewers, so we are. We're hitting like the mid-20s at the point.
Awesome.
Yeah, I know. Going to whole new levels. I'll have to get you on every week, dude.
Yeah, man.
I would have you on there. I think me and you could just chat for an hour.
You need a co-host. You need a co-host.
Definitely. I've been thinking about ideas like that, so I have actually. It's amazing what you can do with the internet, but I definitely want to expand this, because I'm enjoying it. Every week it just gets better and better. Like before the show, I'm kind of like, oh no, what if this guy's like a bit of a douche and stuff? And people come on, and I'm like, yeah, you're awesome. Let's just talk,
You're saying I passed the douche test then?
No, well, I've only had this is the 5th show, so it's not that.
Oh, well, so what do you?
No, not just you do. Like everybody so far. I mean, kind of like,
you don't have much of a meter to gauge me against then.
Yeah, so. That's it. You've all like been getting gradually more awesome. All the past guys were really awesome as well, but it's really, really fun to do this. I generally don't have the energy at like 5 to 8 or whenever I'm about to go live, but then all of a sudden I'm like, yeah, this is cool. We're just talking about stuff that we love. But yeah, we just blasted through 70 minutes, so we're gonna have to. I know it just flies by. So I'm gonna try and get a few last questions out.
Okay.
I'm not going to ask you who your biggest influences are, because I realize everybody has got the exact same influences, and we can only mention Harrison so many times.
Wait, who?
Who are we talking about?
Never heard of him.
What areas of like prop and cosplay making would you like to sort of delve into? Is there an area that you haven't kind of touched on that you'd like to know more and expand your knowledge? Because I'm sure you're like me, you're constantly trying to expand your skills and your techniques and your process and your materials. So is there anything that you would like to look at in the future?
Yeah, for whatever reason, I've only ever made one helmet, and that was the Loki helmet. And I didn't even make that one completely because I based it on a softball helmet that I cut and shaped down to get the size that I wanted, so I could keep it symmetrical, because I had no idea how to make a symmetrical helmet. And so that's just like a really heavily modified helmet. I mean, like really heavily modified. But yeah, that's the only helmet I've ever made, in kind of doing commissions and stuff for almost 3 years now. I haven't, and maybe it's because I'm not known for making helmets. So, but I'd like to learn to do some helmets and maybe some roto casting and some of that other stuff that a lot of you guys do. So yeah, that's something I'd like to try and do more of.
Awesome. So, yeah, no, helmets are fun. I need to start a new helmet commission soon, because they're good fun.
Yeah, I actually wanted to do one for the Calhoun set because she actually wears a helmet for like 5 minutes in the movie.
Yeah.
And it's like one of those, it's like on the back burner. I actually sat down and patterned it one day and kind of had it started and then got busy doing other stuff. And I was going to go back to it and I still haven't. So one day I may end up finishing that. So I have a helmet to go with the costume, but
awesome.
And mostly just so I can learn about making a helmet, you know.
This is a question that John from J Cosplay Props, who was a guest a couple of weeks back. He usually tunes in and asks this, so I'm going to steal it because he hasn't asked it so far. But comparing your oh no, sorry, this is not his question. Someone else's question. Comparing your first projects, the first cosplay prop project, and your latest project. Do you find that the levels of stress have kind of increased or decreased? Have you got better with planning your prop building and time management, or is it still a last-minute dash to before the convention doors open?
For me, it doesn't seem to matter how early I start.
Yep. There is never enough time.
There's never ever enough time.
Oh yeah, I know that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, unless I start next week on next year's project, I mean, maybe that'll work.
Yeah, but then you always find something else to do, and you have to rearrange your shop, and you just spend 4 hours looking on the RPF for nothing. And yeah, there's other things that get in the way.
Yeah. My wife's theory is that she says that I'm a pressure person. So she's like, your creative endeavors are motivated by the pressure of getting it done, and you don't really feel that until you start getting closer and closer to that deadline. So yeah, and she's probably right. And I tend to be a bit of a procrastinator. So
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's why I started doing the one-day builds, because it's like I can try and do something in that fixed period of time that isn't going to drag out, and I can't really get procrastinated because I know I want to go home that night.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's been a lot of fun to actually kind of get me out of topics, because I don't want to be that sort of builder. I want to get stuff done and be able to like take a break or go on holiday or something.
Yeah, me too.
Not have to work
well,
horrible
pretty
long
much
hours.
Everything I'm building at this point, since for the past 3 weeks, has been a one-day build. It's like I need this one-day build. I need this one-day build. To get everything done for these costumes on time.
That's a good way to look at it. Yeah. Today I'm going to do this. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of how I break it up. And some days I hit that goal, and other days, it's going to be a one-day build, and it ends up being a 3-day build, Or I just get like some weird, the arm. There was a section on the arm, and it's like the stupidest thing. It's like this little pinky section right here, right? This stupid thing right here. This little articulated pinky section, which there's like zero reference of it. It's like from this view, and it's like all blurry, right? And I just could not figure out how to make that work. And I literally, it's like I wouldn't let it beat me, and I knew that I needed to just step back and do something else, but I wouldn't do that. My brain was just like, no, you have to figure this out. And I spent 2 days on that stupid pinky section, and now I'm like, oh, if I only had all that time back.
Yeah, I tend to have like 3 or 4 different projects on the go at one time, because I like being able to walk away from something and come back to it with a fresh pair of eyes. But I'm kind of, especially this year since doing the one-day builds, I'm kind of thinking that's a big problem, that I should actually just sort of focus in for like a week and just get something done rather than keep on walking away from it. So for my next big commission, I think I might just try and do that, just focus only on it, or at least spend one day, solid day or solid weeks working on it.
Yeah, and that works. And there's a good line too there between, like mixing things around, but never getting something done. And then, so it's good to have like a way that you can like actually get something done. Amidst all that, then you're like, okay, I can see the end result, and this feels good. And then you can kind of go on to the next thing. Because I do the same thing, because I'm always building like, I'm building for me and my family at the same time. And, we're doing like 3 costumes at once, and I'm always just juggling pieces, But like for the Immortan Joe costume, I basically spent all of January. That's all I did, was build the Immortan Joe out. I didn't work on anything else. And to get to the point where now it just needs to be assembled. I got to get that done this next week. And so then I concentrated on Furiosa and tried to build all that out as quick as I could, which I'm about a month into it now. I thought I could do the arm in 3 weeks, and it's turned into more like 4 weeks. So
well, that's pretty good.
well, I started getting lost in all the details and stuff because I'm really detail oriented as far as that stuff goes. So it's like I got it.
That's where you can lose the days, isn't it?
Yeah. And then you start stressing over something like a pinky and spend 2 days on it. So.
I've lost a lot more than 2 days on something a lot less trivial than a pinky.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, definitely. You ever just stared at something holding onto a piece of sandpaper for like a week and nothing has changed about it?
Yeah. Absolutely know that feeling. I absolutely know that feeling. You're just like, wait, brain, turn back on, please.
Yeah. What about, oh my God, it's Sunday already. Time to start a new week.
I know. I actually, I the other day, I mean, we're already how many days into, it's March, right? Into March.
Oh, it's like nearly April.
No, it's April.
It's like April and half an hour or something.
Okay. So like probably 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks into March, I looked at the calendar to figure something out, and I was like, it's March already? I don't even know where it came from. So
yeah. It's horrible how quickly the time flies. Horrible. Let me see. I've just minimized my questions. Yeah. So standard question that I always like to ask everybody to get a little bit to know about you a little bit better. If you could choose 3 people, alive or dead, from anywhere on this planet or galaxy, I don't care. If you could choose one person to hang out with, just grab a beer. If you could choose one person to collaborate with artistically, and who would be one person that you would just like totally fangirl over, that you would just sort of lose your shit, not be able to speak, who would those 3 people be?
What was the first question again?
3 people, one person that you could hang out with.
One person to hang out with.
One person you could collaborate with artistically, and one person that you would just be so amazed at meeting that you wouldn't be able to speak.
Wow, that's a So hang out with man, I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah, really? I'll tell you what, how about me and you hang out sometime? We'll grab a beer.
I'd love to collaborate with you too.
Okay, so there you go. two for one.
Actually, for collaboration, I would love to work with any of the guys that worked on the original Star Wars trilogy. I don't care. I don't care who it is.
Just
any of those guys.
I just love
John Dykstra. I can't remember all their names now, but like any like when I don't know if you saw Frank Ippolito's videos of him working on the,
that was incredible.
What's the guy's name? I already forgot. Oh, Phil Tippett.
Tippett,
yeah. Just something like that. I mean, working with one of those guys that are kind of like the godfathers of a movie that just like completely changed the scape of movies and children's imaginations. And I mean, that's, Star Wars was where it was at for me. It was like I was like that age. I grew up with those movies. So for a collaboration, any of those guys would be amazing. Hang out with anybody I know from the prop world, really. I mean, I just love sharing information and talking to guys, and any of you guys that have been out there doing it longer than me, and just having a beer together, because we all kind of do our own thing and we're stuck in our houses or our workshops or whatever. And, need to go out there and do some stuff sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. That's what the conventions are for, eh?
Yeah. That's why I like the convention so much. I just love meeting people and, and learning about different things and talking shop and just, just having my mind blown by other people's work, It's just like amazing. You're just like, I can't believe you made that. So
that's incredible. I'm looking forward to getting to a con soon. Right, final question, which is what advice would you give to people who are kind of just starting out, whether it's making props, whether it's making cosplays, or people who are who have already started and are sort of hooked on the good vibes that you get from making and creating? What advice would you give to them?
I would say just build something. Seriously. You know, I get, I mean, I'm sure you're the same way, like all of us, that our names are kind of out there and people see our work and they email you and they start asking you, what about this? What about this? And for me, it's like, you can do all the planning you want, but until you actually build something, it's not going to do you any good.
Yeah, definitely.
And a lot of this stuff is trial and error, and you don't really know how you can use a material or what materials work the best for you unless you try it, you know. And I think a lot of people get stuck in that, how do I even try this, you know? Start small, you know. Bill always says, which is something I've actually never done, you know, repaint a toy prop or whatever, you know. Just do something simple, get an idea of what that creative process is like, and then you can move on to build the prop and then paint it or whatever. So for me, that's the thing, just because I'm kind of terrible about planning. I don't really uber articulate my builds in a blueprint or something. I usually just find the best reference I can, print it out at scale, cut it out, and start building. Because for me, it's kind of like this. It's kind of like, you know, because I did oil painting and stuff back in the day, and it's like looking at a blank canvas, and you don't really know exactly what that picture is going to be until you just start throwing paint up there. And for me, a lot of the props and stuff, I mean, I know what the end result's supposed to be, but I don't really exactly know how I'm going to get there until I just start going, you know, and just start building. And you kind of get in that creative mood, and that process just kind of starts flowing. And that's when I'm happiest, is when, and I'm kind of like in this just groove, you know, and everything's just going well. And then something terrible happens.
Don't put them off. That was a great way to end the show. It's all
fun. Like your mold doesn't cure, or which hasn't happened to me yet, but I'm sure it will someday. But I will. Okay, so I did this just yesterday. I don't have time to do a sawed-off shotgun to build one, you know. So I found a seller on eBay through another cosplayer that does 3D prints of them, right? So I buy one of his 3D prints, and I've been cleaning it up. So actually, technically, that'll be my first repaint, I guess, because it's just a plastic gun, right? And it takes a while to get the 3D print surface right and everything. And I got it to a point where, okay, I'm happy with this. And so I go to put my base coat on yesterday, and I was hanging it from a wire, and I went to hang it on where the rack that I hang it on, and I thought it had caught the nail that it hangs on, but it didn't. So I dropped it, and it went bounce, 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 end over end about 5 times on my concrete driveway. And I was just like, I knew this was going too well.
Yeah, I had 2 painted batarangs ready to show, and coming up to go live with you, I dropped one on my way up the stairs.
Oh, no.
Just like, hadn't taken a picture of it or anything. It's just kind of like, yeah, back to the drawing board. Some more Bondo and sanding tomorrow.
Yep. So I ended up doing repair and primer work instead of getting to like my 3rd or 4th coat, you know, of finishing this gun. So it just happens. Don't let setbacks set you back either.
No, it'll be beautiful when you get there. It'll be even better this time around. Well, we have just about hit the 90-minute mark, which is insane because I've been having so much fun. But yeah, we're going to have to do this again, definitely.
Absolutely.
But for everybody who is currently watching, I'm sure a lot of them already know who you are and where to find you. But what are your social medias of choice?
Well, my main website is coregeek.net, and that's got the kind of my online portfolio of all the pieces I've done up until this year. I don't update that quite regularly because it's just a lot of work. But you can get to all my accounts from there. There's links at the bottom of all the pages that go to. I mostly use Facebook pages and Instagram, although I'm on Twitter as well, but that's more of like an Instagram repeat. And so you can find me there. It's pretty much Core Geek anywhere. I mean, it's a couple variations, but if you search for Core Geek, you'll find me. So that's one of the reasons I use that name, is because it's pretty unique. So, and it's kind of easy to remember, although some people get it confused with Corgi, like the dog. So
I was searching for you recently, and I was searching for Gore Geek.
Oh, I bet that got some interesting search.
I was like, what's going on? So yeah, it's Coregeek.
Coregeek.
Well, Eric, thank you so much for joining me on Sorenzo Meets. It was an absolute pleasure. We went way over time, and I don't care because it's my show and I can do what I want. But yeah, we'll definitely have to get you back on. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks for all the questions. The Q&A app seems to be working for most of you. I've had one message and it wasn't working for one person. But yeah, thanks for everybody. Eric, would you like to say goodbye to the masses?
Hey, it was awesome. Thanks for having me on. I love the show, and I watch every episode, sometimes live if I can, and just keep making cool stuff. And one of these days, I'm going to get one of those helmets from you, I think.
Yeah, I think we might have to do some kit swaps or something like that.
Yeah, because those are amazing. Because
I need to add to my shelf of unfinished kits. Definitely need to add to that.
Yeah, I have a small collection started. So
yeah, definitely. I need a couple more. But yeah, thanks very much, Eric. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and until next one, see you later, guys.
It's been amazing. Thank you.